and welcome to this week's LOLC Securities Weekly Market Roundup. I am Megara Vijayamana.
And I'm Tharadu Amarasekara. This is the sound of profitability.
SriLankan Airlines has recorded a boost in revenue following the rollout of a new AI and machine learning powered management system. The courier stated it had implemented a next-generation origin and destination revenue management platform to automate pricing and inventory. The system uses predictive analytics to offer real-time seat availability, allowing the airline to adjust prices dynamically based on market demand. This technology served as a key driver for the 13% growth recorded by SriLankan Airlines during the first 3 quarters of the 2025-2026 financial year.
Sri Lanka's aviation sector has managed to secure aviation jet fuel sufficient up to about 2 months as the overall flight disruptions begin to ease. The conflict initially affected about 50 to 60% of flight operations, the officials said, but this had now fallen to around 30%. There were sufficient stocks of Jet A1 for international flights and avgas for domestic flights, according to the officials. According to the current data, the CPC holds a reserve of 34,000 metric tons of Jet A1 fuel, with local refineries contributing another 15,000 metric tons and orders already placed for an additional 43,000 metric tons.
The Securities Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka and the Colombo Stock Exchange hosted a joint forum for state-owned enterprises as a broader initiative to engage and encourage SOEs to use the capital market as a source of funding. At the event themed Defining the Future of State-Owned Enterprises Through Capital Market Integration, over 45 SOEs had the opportunity to engage with senior government officials, veterans from SOEs, and capital market experts to discuss capital raising pathways through the CSE. The discussion included how SOEs can navigate capital market landscape, perceive benefits beyond raising capital, the trust built through transparency, and the products, both debt and equity, that can be offered as means of raising capital. According to SEC Chairman DBPH Disabandara, state-owned enterprises play a vital economic and social role in Sri Lanka and remain central to the country's long-term growth. However, many SOEs face financial constraints, governance gaps, and heavy reliance on treasury funding. And now it's time for the corporate highlights.
Ambeon Essentials, a subsidiary of Ambeon Capital, has made a voluntary offer to purchase 1,919,600 ordinary voting shares of Harischandra Mills PLC for a value of 3,400 rupees per share. In January, Ambeon Essentials entered into a share sale and purchase agreement to buy through a voluntary offer 981,118 ordinary voting shares of Harischandra Mills held by a consortium of investors. This represented 51.11% of the total issued ordinary voting shares of Harischandra, a publicly listed consumer goods company. Diversified conglomerate Hali's PLC previously offered to buy the Harischandra Mills stock from shareholders at 3,300 rupees per share after acquiring a 40.58% stake.
Asia Capital announced it entered into a share sale and purchase agreement with Japan Capital, acquiring Wadduwa Resorts with a stake of 22.13% for 75 million rupees. The purchase will be finalized in September 2026. Asia Capital and its subsidiaries will subsequently hold 100% of the shares of Wadduwa Resorts. The company stated it signed a share sale and purchase agreement with Japan Capital Private Limited, with the transaction expected to be completed by September 2026. And here is Tharindu with the ESG update of the week.
In ESG news around the world, Germany has launched an €8 billion program to towards accelerating reduction of emissions and also to reduce the dependency on foreign fossil fuel imports as the country prepares towards facing rising energy insecurity and energy costs, along with handling the widening gaps from the 2030 climate change targets. The 67-point plan responds to mounting concerns within government and industry that current policies will fall short of legally binding climate commitments. Europe's largest economy aims to cut greenhouse gas emissions by at least 65% from 1990 levels by 2030 and reach climate neutrality by 2045. Progress remains uneven and emissions have fallen by roughly 48% to date, leaving a significant shortfall that analysts say cannot be closed without additional structural interventions. And here's Megara with the international update of the week.
Oil prices have surged to their highest level in nearly 2 weeks amid escalation on multiple fronts of the US-Israel war on Iran. Brent crude, the global benchmark, rose more than 3% to top $116 a barrel. Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz in retaliation for the US-Israeli attacks has disrupted about 1/5 of global oil and liquefied natural gas supplies, causing the world's biggest energy crisis in decades. Asian stocks also took a hit after Trump's speech. Most Southeast Asian countries rely heavily on oil imports, leaving them especially exposed to the sharp rise in oil prices triggered by the Middle East war. Asian emerging market stocks fell overall, with a main regional index, the MSCI gauge of EM Asia equities, which dropped by 2.3%, while regional currencies weakened slightly by 0.2%.
And that's it for this week's LOLC Securities Weekly Market Roundup. No matter what investment decision you make it with the right intent. We will see you in a brand new week.